Good morning. Hope everyone's having a wonderful week. This week, I'm going to do 5 episodes or 5 different conversations about the system that we are currently living in. I think it's very important. I'm usually all about positivity, and this is still super positive conversation to talk about, but it's some reality. And I believe these days we need to have some real talk, which is why I would like to talk about this stuff. I would like to take a look at the system that we currently live in and what that means. So, the system is a group of people, human beings, just like ourselves, that have deemed themselves to have more information than others and put themselves in a place where they are delegating that information how they see fit. So, it's a group of human beings that have more information than other human beings, and they choose whether or not they want to share it. Now, that gives them some superiority. Now, what that does is that allows these humans to grow ego in a sense. So, we have an embodiment of humans that are allowing themselves to feel or think they're better than other people, and they make decisions for a large number of people. Now, this group of people that have been affected by this ability to control ego, they have let it out of control, is controlling us. And there's a big problem with that because that is a large portion of us who think and live by our own moral code, who do not see the world in a nasty, negative, devastating place. They do see the world through the eyes of love and not through the eyes of fear. And there's a group of people that believe that love can actually change the world. And this idea that we are supporting a system that doesn't have that same destination is troublesome. It's problematic, and this is the state that we are currently in. Like, we are living in a controlled state, and it's very much a reality. And it's a conversation we need to have because the very people that we've put in power to be our voice are not listening to us at all anymore. They actually dictate what they think is best for us, and 9 times out of 10 it is not best for us, and history can dictate that. It'll teach us that, right? Like, we have clear examples as to why that doesn't work. Something we need to be very aware of is where we are headed, because the current state that we are in, everyone's living in the present moment. I don't usually like to live outside of it, but at this moment we need to have this conversation simply because we're on our way to a destination. I believe that the collective consciousness of humanity would like to believe that love is at the forefront of everything we do, but it is not. Fear is very much at the forefront of everything these days, and the build up to these days. We look back on the last 40 years, fear has been a heavy tool. Indoctrinated, always saying that they must keep us safe. They must keep us safe. We should be afraid of everything. Be afraid of this country. Be afraid of these people. Be afraid of this religion. It has come to a point where people have practiced this behavior and they're afraid all the time. Their mind is in a constant state of fear. And when your mind is in a constant state of fear, you're in a constant state of doubt. And doubt will allow you to be controlled because you're not sure of yourself. And these are psychological tools. I mean, this is just psychology, right? Like, this is an actuality. I can also appreciate that when we have practiced fear to a point, it's a distraction. So when we want to have these conversations about reality and about this outside source, this entity, this thing called the governments, we choose to ignore what is actually going on because we want to have faith that people have our best interests at hand, but they do not. And we can look at that from this perspective. Really, there's no such thing as countries anymore these days. There's businesses, and it's whether or not your business is one that's willing to do business with other businesses. So, such as Canada doing business with Australia, Australia doing business with the United States, and China and Russia, and these other countries. Now, if you're not a middle developed country, they don't care. Like, that's just the way it is. First world countries will sell you everything at a very, very high price, and you will work 7 days a week to achieve that. You won't think about these other countries anymore because you're so distracted living your own life that you have completely removed it. We know that Africa was completely destroyed by governments and oppression and poverty and lack of food withheld by the governments because of greed since 1980, and if not before that, But here we are in 2021 thinking that we don't think about the situation at all anymore because out of sight, out of mind, and we certainly don't talk about it anymore because it's bad for business, right? It's not there to do any benefit to you. But this is the system that we're living in. We live in a first world country where we work 7 days a week at jobs that don't pay us nearly what the cost of living is. A family of four has two parents, and both parents are constantly working because you can't afford to have what you have these days. So you don't even get time to parent your parents. And at the end of your working life, you know, when you've given it all and you hit that 65 mark, the system will not be there for you because the healthcare system fails in this aspect on every level because you're no longer purposeful to the system. So why would they pay for you? And they figure out every which way to not pay for you and not to have your best interests at hand. And that's just where we've arrived to. We need to appreciate that. This is the current state that we are in, and we are perpetuating this idea. So it's unnerving, and it's unsettling, and it's a reality, and it's a conversation we have to have because things are just getting much, much worse. And if we continue to allow these people to make these decisions based on their best interest rather than ours and tax us at every avenue possible and, you know, oppress other countries that we should all be, you know, embracing, we should all be working together, I don't know what's going to be left for the children. And that is something that we can all appreciate, I believe. I think that if we look to the little ones, regardless of if they're your own or if they're not, I believe that having the same opportunity that we had would be imperative. And we need to do the best we can for them, I believe. So that starts with conversation and then is action, you know. So planting a seed today for sure. But this week we're going to do that all week. And I'm going to teach you and talk to you about some things that we choose to ignore readily. And help me share it because I share it a lot in the groups and they just shut me off. So if you can help me share this, that would be great because I would like to build this community bigger so we can come together and actually make some change. Have a wonderful day.